Welcome back, everyone. In this lesson, we will continue our discussion on how to copy data from one table to another. In this lesson, we will look at how to use the insert into command to copy data from one table to another. So let's get to it. Okay, so let's say I want a table that will contain rows of newly acquired stocks. Okay, so here I create that table with the create table command, newly acquired stocks, and similar to our my stocks table, we have three columns, right? Symbol, num shares, date acquired, because that would make sense. When you acquire new stocks, they will have a symbol. You will have how many of the shares you actually bought, and then of course you will have when you bought those shares. All right, so we have two tables. This one is just for all your stocks, and this one is for new stocks that you acquired. All right, maybe you are a very organized person and you like to have this information at hand. All right, so you could always ask your secretary or your data analyst, okay, which stocks did we buy this week? Okay, and they can quickly look in this table and tell you which stocks were bought this week. All right, so what I want to do, just to show you how to copy using insert into, I want to be able to copy the first three rows that are in this table. Okay, so let's select all from my stocks. Okay, so let's say I want to copy these first three rows from the my stocks table, and I want to push that into this new table, newly acquired stocks. So how do we go about doing that? Well, let's do that. By the way, I'm going to do one thing. Whenever you're testing, it's good to do a drop table if exists. Okay, newly acquired stock. So instead of my having to actually go in to PSQL and drop the table, I could always write that at the top here. Okay, because remember, when you're testing, you always need to be creating and recreating the tables. All right, so it's best to just do that in the file as well. All right, so I have my new table, so I know that this will create a new table for me. And so how do I go about actually inserting new data into this table? Well, let's do that. So I'm going to write that code underneath. Okay, so let's put a comment. I'm going to say add the first three rows from my stocks to newly acquired stocks. Okay, and so this is how you do comments in SQL. All right. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, all we need to do is use the insert statement. So I want to insert into, and we say the table name. So that's newly. All right. Great. So what do I want to insert into this table? Well, let's set up and let's say which columns we want the values to be inserted into. So I want values to be inserted into the symbol column, into the num shares column, and into the date acquired column, okay, of this table. All right. Okay, so where are the values coming from? that will be inserted into these three columns? Well, that's where our select comes from. Okay, so we're gonna say select, all right, symbol num shares, okay, and date acquired, okay, from which table? Well, from my stocks. Okay, and of course our semicolon will go at the end. Okay, the end of this entire statement, because remember this statement starts on line 10 and it ends on line 14. All right, so it's one long SQL statement. All right, so with that out of the way, we're gonna read this in. Okay, so new stocks.sql, so \I new stocks.sql. Let me double check new stocks, correct. Okay. Okay, we have an error. Newly acquired stocks does not exist. Alright. Okay, good. So it didn't find the table, so it skipped the drop table because there's no table to drop. Okay, makes sense. And so it created the table. Great, we have our table. So if we say \dt, we should see our table. It's right here. Great. Okay, we have another error. It says date acquired does not exist. But it could not be referenced from this query. All right, so let me double check. I have date acquired. Let's see what my table. What is my table anyway? So \ds my stocks. Okay. Okay, so here I have AQUIRED, but I am writing ACQ. The spelling is actually ACQ, right? Acquired is AC, so I spelled this thing wrong. Let me double check that. Yeah, see, I spelled it wrong. Okay, so what I can do, there are two options. Option one, I can make the change here. Okay, let's do that. And then I can reread this SQL, all right? And then I can run this file again. But I could also do this. And so this allows me to show you how to use the alter table command. So if I say alter table, this allows me to edit a table. So alter table, my stocks, okay? And what do I want to do? I want to rename a column, and name of the column is date acquired, okay? And I want to rename it to date underscore ACQUIRED. All right, so let me check the table again, my stocks. All right, so it's now updated. So I have changed that mistake I made. Okay, so let's try running the command again to read in the new table. Okay, and let's see if it works this time. All right, so it seems to have worked. Let's check. Select all from newly acquired stocks. Okay, great. But we said we only wanted to read in the first three. Okay, but I read in all of it. So let's see if we can fix that. So let's go back. All right, so it's just copying all of them. I don't want all of them. I only want the first 3 rows from the stocks. So I only want this one, and this one. Okay, so how do we do that? That's simple enough. All we're going to do is to say limit to 3 rows. Okay, and that's something I think you all are familiar with, the limit command. The limit command simply takes whatever the query returns, and it simply returns from that the number you give limit. Okay. All right. So I only want 3 of the rows from the resulting answer. All right. So let's run this again. Okay. And that's why I recommended that you drop the table at the top. Okay. Because it makes our testing faster. Okay, so notice now it says 3. So let's verify. Select all from newly created, newly acquired stocks. All right, and we have our 3 rows. All right, so that brings us to the end of this lecture, where we learned, you should have learned how to take data from one table and copy it into another table using the insert into command along with a subquery. Okay, and along the way we also learned how to use the alter table command, which allows us to make changes to an already created table. All right, so once you have those 2 things, once you understand those 2 things, it means you are ready for some practice problems. All right, so we will continue this discussion on the fundamentals of PostgreSQL in the next lesson. So I'll see you there.